Hello and welcome to From the Mailbag. I hope that you're enjoying this early part of 2012. We've had the opportunity to visit many areas of Arkansas already this year, and I'm looking forward to the next time I can travel around the state. There are a number of issues Congress must address this year, which include our continued effort to rein in spending. Ann from Camden wrote to us urging Congress to get spending under control. And we do have to get spending under controls. We have a unsustainable spending. We can see that with a $1.3 trillion deficit. Anywhere from 37 to 40 cents of every dollar that we spend is borrowed money. So, just like Americans are doing, just like the people of Arkansas, when you're in that situation, you quit spending more than you have. I authored, along with others, was a co-sponsor of what's called the Honest Budget Act, and really trying to get us to start budgeting without all the gimmicks in it so that the people of America could really understand exactly the budgeting process. So I'm concerned, it's been over 1,000 days now since we've actually had a budget in the Senate. How do you operate, without having a budget? Whether you're a household, whether you're a small business or a big business, but especially an entity that has a $3.7 trillion expenditure. We need a budget. That's the first place you start. And sadly, Senator Reid has said that we won't have a budget again this year. The chairman, Bernanke, came and testified not too long ago and said not having a budget was a true detriment to the economy. So hopefully we can work together and start to get things under control. We received a letter from James in Siloam Springs, who wrote in about the Obama administration's policy forcing religious institutions like church-run hospitals and universities to provide family planning services that they feel like violates their faith. And I'm very much opposed to this. And this is such an important issue. And it's not only important to people of the Catholic faith, but it's also just an important, important problem, something that we have to deal with based on people that have religious beliefs. It's not about freedom of worship. It's not just confined to when we're in church, but we have freedom of religion that is all-encompassing. And what the administration has said is that the church, it's okay, the direct church, not to provide these things. But when you get out and you're helping poor people in food lines, when you're providing educational opportunities for the underserved, when you're in a situation where you're providing a hospital, that you have to provide contraceptive services in the insurance, some of those being abortives, sterilization. And these are things that the Catholic Church, for not just now, but for centuries, has held that they just don't agree with this. So what's going to happen is either the president's going to back down or the church is simply not going to do this. And so as a result, we will lose services to the poorest of the poor. The church does a tremendous job of taking the dollars that they've been entrusted with, leveraging them out so far. The government could never match this. It would be tremendously, expensive. And again, it's just not reasonable at all. So I very much am opposed. We're working hard. We're a co-sponsor of a couple bills to overturn this. And this is something that I think people of all faiths should join together and fight. It is truly a question of conscience. It's a question of religious liberty. Our final question comes from Keith in Arkansas County, and he's concerned about a Department of Labor proposal on child labor regulations that he says will impact his family farm. This is an interesting situation. This is totally unnecessary, and it interferes with the longstanding farming practices. You grow up on the farm, and if your neighbor needs some help, and you've got a 16-year-old that is healthy and things, he goes over, you go over and help. Now, in order to do that, they're talking about you having to have a work permit. It's just another example of the federal government trying to control every aspect of our life. Another thing that they've done is they've made it such that they have height regulations where children, young people, you know, the 16-year-old, the 15-year-old that grow up helping on the farm, that they can't work so high above the ground. They've done that to keep the kids out of tractors. And so, you know, certainly, you know, all of this needs to be done in a safe way. It's been done for generations. The people that are writing this evidently don't have any concept at all about what it's like being a farm family. But again, it's something that I'm working very hard to push back on, to get the regulation reversed, because it's another thing that there is no common sense, there's no science, there's no reason to do this. But it is another example of the heavy-handedness of the federal government trying to push down, and the attitude is that we know better than you, just do it this way. I want to thank you for joining us for this edition of From the Mailbag. To watch past episodes or to subscribe to our e-newsletter, please visit my website at www.boozman.senate.gov. Be sure and sign up for our e-newsletter if you're not already. Again, it's just an effort to provide you periodically with what's going on in Washington, the bills that are coming on the floor, why we're voting in the ways that we are. And so thank you very, very much for being a part of our show today.